We never want a serious crisis to go to waste.
If I could have gotten 51 votes in the Senate of the United States for an outright ban, picking up every one of them, Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in, I would have done it.
I have two words for you: predator drones. You will never see it coming.
It's time for On Target Radio, Chicagoland's only radio show dedicated to the red meat issues that affect your life, from gun control to freedom of speech. Now, debating, debunking, and discussing today's hot issues. Here are your hosts, David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz.
Welcome to On Target Radio. Tonight, David and Gretchen will be talking about the latest liberal anti-Second Amendment attack, attempting to put gun manufacturers out of business. More incriminating emails turn up from Hillary Clinton's private email server, and how the Democratic Party is actually going to use convicted felons to win the upcoming presidential election. And Starbucks and Apple are talking out of both sides of their collective mouth. All that and more on tonight's On Target Radio. So be sure to give us a call at 312-642-5600 or go to Facebook and like our page, On Target Radio, and ask a question there.
And now, from the seething cauldron of personal opinion, it's time for David's Rant of the Week.
Go Aggies! The anti-personal protection cabal must be having a collective paroxysm over Texas A&M, giving the green light for students to carry concealed on campus. The bill, which was introduced in 2015, does have some restrictions, including child care facilities, places of student disciplinary actions, and sporting events. All things considered, it's a good win. The relaxed policy comes as state legislators passed a law giving campuses more leeway in determining carry rights for gun owners. In a Fort Worth Star-Telegram interview, Chancellor John Sharp said, and I quote, "Do I trust my students, faculty, and staff to work and live responsibly under the same laws at the university as they do at home? Of course I do," unquote. Texas' new campus carry law goes into effect statewide August 1st, in time for the new academic year. It doesn't mandate all institutes must allow concealed carry, but rather it allows them individually to make the decision locally whether or not to allow concealed carry and set whatever limitations they wish on where students may carry concealed. Lest you think this an anomaly, it is slowly gaining momentum across the country. In 2015, victory in Texas wasn't an isolated incident by a long shot. In 2014, at least 14 states introduced similar legislation. And in 2013, at least 19 states introduced legislation to allow concealed carry on campus. 2 bills survived. One in Kansas that allows concealed carry generally, and one in Arkansas that allows faculty to carry. The Kansas legislation creates a provision that colleges and universities cannot prohibit concealed carry unless a building has adequate security measures. The Arkansas bill allows faculty to carry unless the governing board adopts a policy that expressly disallows faculty to carry. Currently, there are 19 states that ban carrying a concealed weapon on a college campus, which, surprise, surprise, includes Illinois. 9 states have some provision for campus concealed carry. They include Arkansas, Colorado, Idaho, Kansas, Mississippi, Oregon, Utah, Texas, and Wisconsin. All the remaining states but one leave the decision to ban or allow concealed carry weapons on campus up to the institution itself. Utah remains the only state to have a statute specifically naming public colleges and universities as public entities that do not have the authority to ban concealed carry. And thus, all 10 public institutions in Utah allow concealed weapons on their property. Of course, the anti-personal protection cabal forecast dire results, as always. They're marching out the same old tired nonsense that they always say. For the record, I'm looking for the following predictions by Mayor Rahm Emanuel and the recently departed Superintendent of Police, Gary McCarthy. Where in Chicago is blood running in the streets because we got concealed carry? Can you tell me where someone shot another person over a parking space or perhaps more importantly, over a piece of lawn furniture holding a parking space? Can you think of a single instance where a concealed carry holder got into a shootout in a store and killed a bunch of people accidentally? And has there been even one case in Chicago in which a cop killed a concealed carry holder by accident? Of course not. Because when you give law-abiding John Q. public the right to carry a concealed firearm, John Q. rises to the occasion, and the proof is in the pudding. The 500-pound gorilla in the concealed carry permit game is Florida. Since 1987, the state of Florida has issued 2.5 million concealed carry permits. Of those, only 168 persons out of 2.5 million have committed firearms-related crimes, or 0.00672%. Compare that to a 3-year study showing 0.02% of slightly more than 683,000 full-time law enforcement officers have committed a firearm-related violation. The simple fact is this: guns save lives, and gun owners take the responsibility very seriously, no matter where they are or what they're doing. And that, Gretchen, is my rant for the week.
You know, we probably would have had some of those parking spot shootings if we hadn't had such a mild winter.
Well, you never know. If somebody displaces a fine, high-quality, perhaps heirloom lawn chair,
Well, that's a shooting offense.
I can see
no
where
doubt.
it could go south for that. Yeah, I can understand that. But it's true. When you look at the statistics, and I'm not picking on cops by any stretch. I'm just looking at what the numbers say.
Right.
When you look at the statistics, concealed carry population across the United States is less likely to get involved in a criminal action that involves a firearm than even law enforcement.
Right.
It just is what it is. And, they keep rolling out this nonsense about blood running in the streets and people are going to shoot each other in parking spaces. There's no incident of it.
Right. Exactly. And even, I teach the law, lately every weekend in concealed carry class. And, even in Chicago, one of the most draconian areas for gun laws and for anti-Second Amendment sentiments, the people who have used, the concealed carry people who've used guns in self-defense or in defense of others, no one's been prosecuted.
It's true.
It's because we rise to the occasion. They're good shootings.
And, eventually it's bound to happen, obviously.
Sure.
But if you just look at it from a statistic point, it's a non-event.
Yeah.
The whole thing about firearms in general, though, the left is psycho. I mean, they make stuff up. You look at this Connecticut Superior Court Judge, Barbara Bellis. So this is a touchy subject because we're talking about Sandy Hook, and everybody feels. I mean, that was a terrible thing.
Right. It's a horrible thing, no doubt.
And I'm sure I'll get some hate mail today, and I'll go, "Oh, you think all those kids should have been killed?" No, I don't. That's a stupid thing. But this judge is allowing the parents of some of the kids that were killed at Sandy Hook to sue the manufacturers. Mm-hmm. Now, first of all, just on the face of it, it's against federal statute. There is a federal law that says let's see, it says, I was looking, I had it here somewhere, but anyway, you can't do that. It's, what is it, free? What the
It's
heck?
on the top of page 2.
It's on 2.
Protection of
There
lawful
you go.
commerce in arms, the Act of 2005.
Exactly. That's it. So they passed a law in 2005, which basically says you can't sue a manufacturer. Now, there's a caveat that goes in there.
Businesses that manufacture, market, distribute, import, or sell firearms should not be liable for the harm caused by those who criminally or unlawfully misuse such weapons.
But there are exceptions. For instance, if it's a product liability issue, if there's something wrong in the manufacture of it, okay, that's fine. If it's a defective type of thing, if you deliberately sell a gun to someone who's prohibited, which we call straw man purchase,
Right.
Or if you encourage gun owners to misuse the weapon in the way that leads to harm. So that would be an exception. You could sue over that, none of which apply in this
Right.
case.
They don't apply.
Now, here's the thing. That they even had to pass that law doesn't make sense. If you're in a car accident, you don't, unless there's a problem with the car,
Right.
you don't sue somebody for that. A drunk
Right.
driver.
You don't sue the car company.
Right. And you look at anything. If you're running in a boat and you crash into something, you don't sue the boat manufacturer. You don't sue the manufacturer of a blender because you stick your hand in it. You know, but guns?
Hoda Kotb doesn't sue the manufacturer of kitchen knives because she doesn't know how to use them.
Exactly. And yet, this judge, Connecticut Superior Court, Barbara Bellis, is saying, yeah, it's okay. You can go ahead and sue
She
him.
blathered on for 18 pages
To justify it.
to argue the semantics of why she was going to allow it to go forward.
Exactly. And it was all bogus.
Totally.
It's an interesting thing. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about Benghazi. More has surfaced. Can you believe that? It's hard to imagine, and it has. All that and more on Target Radio when we return. And you're listening to AM560, The Answer.
How can you get from here to there? We've got the answer from the North States Steel Traffic Center.
Good evening, I'm Rich. Taking a look at the roadways. Major problems in the Madison area where Route 30 is closed at Main Street for a crash with multiple injuries. 5 ambulances have been called to the scene. If you're in Elk Grove Village, crash with injuries on Higgins west of Arlington Heights, and on the west side, California Taylor car has struck a viaduct. Don't forget in Grant Park, closures are in place for NFL Draft Town, including Congress, Balbo, and Columbus. Eden's clear in both directions. Kennedy inbound 23 in from O'Hare, but it's 10 in from Montrose. Wide open if you're heading outbound. I-190 eastbound also tight from Bessie Coleman to the Kennedy. Half hour in on the Eisenhower from Thorndale, tight from Racine on in. Also seeing delays on the Dan Ryan heading inbound from 18th Street. Tonight's forecast looking beautiful with a low around 60. Right now O'Hare 65, mostly cloudy, but 55 at the lake. Your next updates in 15 minutes on AM560. The Answer.
The average Republican voter out there right now is looking for an outsider who will blow the whole damn thing up.
The Joe Walsh Show.
I don't want somebody who comes from Washington. I don't want somebody to get along with Democrats. Not this year. I want the whole system blown up. That's why Trump, or that's why Cruz.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5. Right after Sean Hannity at 2 on AM560. The Answer.
This year, that's where Republican voters are at.
For over 100 years, the Illinois State Rifle Association has supported the rights and freedoms of Illinois citizens to keep and bear arms. For over 100 years, the ISRA has supported the use of firearms as a sport for personal protection and as a fundamental aspect of national defense. For over 100 years, the Illinois State Rifle Association has been supporting you. Don't you think it's time you supported them? ISRA.org or 815-635-3198. The Illinois State Rifle Association, supporting you.
Hey, protecting your family and Second Amendment rights is important. You need the proper equipment and training from DS Arms. As an actual manufacturer of AR-15 and FNFAL type rifles, they also stock all major brands of firearms, including handguns and every accessory imaginable for self-defense, target shooting, and hunting. Ladies, get your concealed carry license plus basic and advanced training in a family-friendly environment with girlfriends, loved ones, even mom. Everything's provided, including a firearm for only $225. For custom rifles made in America or concealed carry firearms training classes, make DS Arms your team. It's great being an American and supporting your Second Amendment rights and American manufacturing jobs. With nearly 3 decades of experience, DS Arms has you covered. DS Arms, much more than a gun store. It's easy to reach in Lake Barrington, just off of Route 14 and Pepper Road. Call 847-277-7260 or visit dsarms.com.
Here's some great news. Jack Taboda of Taboda & Associates can help you with your retirement game plan. You know Jack, or you should. Jack is the president and founder of Taboda & Associates. He's been helping folks just like you retire successfully for 3 decades. Jack has the insight, information, strategies, and experience you can use to build wealth and keep it. Live good. Retire well with Jack Taboda of Taboda & Associates. 630-777-7955. 630-777-7955.
You're listening to On Target Radio on AM560, The Answer, with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
This segment is brought to you by Will County Grassroots Division of the Illinois State Rifle Association. Join like-minded friends supporting the right to keep and bear arms in Illinois at 7 p.m. on the third Wednesday of the month at the Silver Dollar Restaurant in Elwood, Illinois. And by the way, you were missed.
Was I?
You were missed.
Did they ask after me?
Yeah, well, a few people said, where's Gretchen? I mean,
They probably said, like, WTF.
Well, no. No, they said, where's Gretchen?
Okay.
And I said, she doesn't really like you people, and she's not coming.
So you lied about me.
Yeah.
I had a political meeting. You're supposed to tell them I had a political meeting.
Well, that's embarrassing.
That's embarrassing?
Gretchen's a politician. Well, I'd rather say that she was robbing a bank, not a politician. Come on. It was a good meeting, though. Kim Heath was the speaker. Did I tell you that?
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Kim Heath is the speaker, and she's an astounding shooter and instructor. She's Will County's, primary farms instructor. And she did a very interesting thing. Basically, she teaches the stance and grip essentially the way I teach it, but she did a demonstration with stance that was very, very interesting, talking about recoil management. So I'm going to steal it from Kim.
Sounds good.
So that was good. It was a very good program. And it usually is a good program. Anyway, so we're back. And, there's some of this, there's some of that. Here we have an interesting thing. This is like the gift that keeps on giving.
It is.
Hillary, the
Except that it's
Hilda Beast.
bad.
Yeah, the Hilda Beast it got it again. This keeps coming up over and over and over again. The whole email thing with Hillary Clinton. Now, this time it turns out.
Yeah, this is email and Benghazi. This
exactly.
is a 2-for-1.
This is a twofer, yes, and telephones. What they were compelled to do is release telephone transcripts from that time, right? State Department.
Sure.
Remember, she kept saying over and over, it's about a videotape. It's about
right.
over and over. When she called her daughter the same day and goes, it wasn't about a videotape at all. It was,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, it turns out, phone documents say, State Department released new documents of telephone transcripts from that evening. Secretary of State informed then Egyptian Prime Minister Hisham Kandil, that the deadly terrorist attack on U.S. compound the day before had nothing to do with the film, quote, unquote. Mm-hmm. You will recall on the evening of September 11th, Mrs. Clinton issued the official State Department press release that put the blame on the attack on the film. Some have sought to justify the vicious behavior as a response to inflammatory material posted on the internet. That's what she said. Mm-hmm. Now, the next day she had this conversation with Kandil, and she said specifically, we know the attack in Libya had nothing to do with the film. It was a planned attack, not a protest. Kandil responded, you're not kidding. Based on the information we saw today, we believe that group that claimed responsibility for this is affiliated with Al-Qaeda, unquote. They knew this from the beginning. There was never anything about it. They just flat out lied.
Right. And then 2 days later, she repeated the lie. When the bodies of the 4 Americans who were killed were returned to the United States, they had a little ceremony at the airport, and she repeated it again, saying that it was over an awful internet video that we had nothing to do with.
You're listening to On Target Radio. This is AM560 The Answer. Give us a call, 312-642-5600. What do you think about Hillary Clinton?
Which is not only a lie, it's bad grammar.
Is bad grammar. That's right. And then Susan Rice, who at the time, Susan Rice was ambassador to the UN. Susan Rice does all the Sunday morning talk shows. This is days later.
Yes.
And she reiterates the same party line.
They put her out there and they told her to say the same thing.
And she says, but our current best assessment, based on the information that we have at present, this is days later, is that, in fact, what this began as, it was spontaneous, not premeditated. It was a response to what we had transpired in Cairo. In Cairo, as you know, a few hours earlier, there was a violent protest that was undertaken in reaction to this very offensive video that was disseminated. So you got two things going on here. And they're telling heads of state this.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
You got two things going on. One of which is you're lying to heads of state, with which we have treaties and all sorts of stuff. Sure. And the other thing is the State Department then covers up the whole thing. There's a whole lot of felonies in there.
Yeah, it's very, very embarrassing. And the State Department really tried really hard Judicial Watch had FOIA'd these records, these phone transcripts and emails and all of this stuff, and they really resisted turning it over. But finally, the courts granted them discovery, and this is one of the things that they discovered.
Here's the thing, and we've said this before. You talk to people, and they go, well, yeah, I know Clinton. Yeah, I know. Hillary has faults, but I'm going to vote for her anyway.
Right. Simply because she's the only person in the race who possesses a vagina. It's ridiculous. It's the most ridiculous criterion
I'm not sure she has one.
anyone could ever use. Well, ostensibly, she has a vagina.
I'm thinking, what was the thing that you said? What's that new drug?
Oh, Grosset?
Grosset, yeah, Grosset. I think she's already done that. I think she has bills, frankly. I
think she keeps them in a jar.
Yeah. Okay, so George is saying we have to change the subject. He says, I got the signal from George, the one finger Italian salute, which means the other finger is on the button, okay? Were we skating close there, George? We were skating close. I aspire to be pinker.
I was going to say.
I want to be the pinker.
Dave prides himself on that.
That's right. I do. You know what? If all of a sudden there's a long blank spot.
Yeah, if there's a quiet spot, it's not dead air.
Exactly.
We got dumped.
But anyway, the woman has just an astounding history of lying.
Yes.
And she gets caught a lot, which says two things. The first thing that it says is she's really the most dishonest person probably ever in politics. The other thing
Which is really quite an accomplishment when you think about it.
It is. Because most politicians at that level have something a little funny about them.
Right.
And I get that.
Right.
But the other thing that it says is this. With all the stuff that we've seen, what haven't we seen?
There's more.
What haven't we found?
It's like cockroaches. If you see one, there's probably 50.
Exactly. Where there's smoke, there's fire. This is a person who is a habitual liar.
Yeah. Well, and the funny thing is, when she's not lying, she's telling the truth, which is an even bigger problem, at least for us, for our audience. It's a bigger problem because she recently said, when it comes to guns, we have just too many guns on the streets, in our homes, in our neighborhoods. She makes no distinction between illegal guns and legal guns.
Not at all. And you know what? She's just getting bolder by the day.
Yeah, she really is.
Which I'm thinking is a good thing. Let's get it out. Because she's literally saying, first of all, she's saying, I want guns in homes, not out. So right off the bat, she doesn't want people to be able to take a gun out of the house.
Right.
Okay? And then she says, and there's too many guns in the house to begin with.
Right.
I mean, this does not bode well. It does not bode well. And since she clearly is a habitual liar, let's say just, and this isn't even fathomable, but let's say she's not a crook, which I can't possibly imagine. But let's say she's not. She's still literally a chronic liar. I mean, and this is not the right-wing vast conspiracy we dreamed this stuff up. This is documented fact that she goes, no, it's not. And then like 2 days later, there's the document. Yes, it is.
Right. Well, and if she's not lying, she's flip-flopping, which is the other thing.
Exactly.
You know, that I put up a video on Facebook this week that said, you know, people who should not vote for Hillary Clinton. And you know, it was like gay people, and then all the things that she said over the years negative about gay people. And
marriage is a Christian thing between a man and a woman. That's
right.
It
just goes on and on of people who should not vote for Hillary Clinton and the proof of why that is. So what I'm thinking is, you know, I think it's good that she is being very anti-Second Amendment. If it can energize our base, right? If it can energize our base to vote against her, no matter who our candidate is, that's going to be a good thing. But unfortunately, I don't think it is enough to energize our base.
Well, as we've said before, Republicans have an astounding ability to snatch defeat out of the jaws of victory. Now,
yes,
I do want
this election should have been ours to lose.
Yeah. I do want to say that, in all fairness, candidates have as much right to change their mind on a subject as anybody does. And if a candidate says, look, I know, 5 years ago I thought this, I've been looking at it all these years, I feel different. Okay, I understand that.
Sure.
Everything changes with her.
Sure.
And it changes from day to day.
And it's no like, oh, I've studied this and
right.
you know.
It's just she lies. Okay, when we come back, we're going to keep, or not keep, but we're going to talk about Starbucks and Apple. I can't even believe this. All that and more on Target Radio. And you're listening to AM560 The Answer. I almost didn't get that in.
I thought
We're doing 200,000 votes.
I was gonna say I thought the phone.
That's fine. I'm reading ahead. No, that's fine. We'll do 200,000 votes. I can't come up with a system that catches my eye. I tried different colors.
George was getting the itchy arm back there. I know. I just if you went further with it, I would have had to sort of, you know.
I studied under the pinker. Okay,
I'm the last fucking guy that anyone should ever hire for like standards and practices. Okay,
Yeah, absolutely.
But I do my job very well. So I have. There's some Saturday shows that I've been for something. And I'm like. You know, and they're like, "Oh, are you prude?" It's like it's not my sensibilities that I'm defending here. It's my job.
I went to the school of Pinker, who had an amazing ability to skate on the edge.
I interned at the school of Pinker.
Yeah.
And it ruined me.
Yeah, well, and there's that. But
that guy Larry who always private messages
Yeah.
us instead of putting stuff on the timeline. He sent a picture of Hillary Clinton standing at a urinal.
It's her using her bathroom of choice.
I've seen that.
She identifies as a trucker.
She self-identifies as male.
Well, all right, yes, you're going to do a live read, and then we're going to talk about 200,000 felons.
I've got a liberal friend who today freaked out on Facebook over the idea that it costs over $1 million for the U.S. government to hack the iPhone for that. And I just, my comment was 1.81. This is, what the hell is that? I said 1.81. What the hell is 1.81? I said, that's how many billions of dollars per day we spend on interest on the national debt.
Right.
And she goes, no,
that's
crazy. Silence.
Yeah.
You're bitching about $1 million and you're all Sanders.
Here's my take on that.
Like,
what,
are you talking
that much interest? Oh,
it's very close to it's one.
My take on that billion.
Yeah. It's billion with a B.
My take on the phone thing.
Think about it.
That's the way it should have gone.
Yes.
Apple should have not been involved. If the government wants to go and hire somebody to try and crack it,
the government should have said, "Hey, we're going to do this. Would you like to assist us?" And they
Right.
say no, and we say, "Okay, we'll audit you and we'll do it ourselves." Right. That's how the world's supposed to work.
Exactly. It's not supposed to be easy
Right.
for cops to track you down.
Exactly.
Because that leads to a police state.
And at the same time, Apple's totally full of shit throughout the entire
Well,
thing.
and they've done it. In the past,
so
they've
full of
done
shit.
it.
Right. Not only that, but they can get into their own equipment. You don't have to build a back
Well,
door.
they said
you can simply update the firmware to unlock the phone.
Right. They said that the
That's
like
really
the
easy.
newer generation, which was what the criminals had, was had better encryption than like the older ones.
Right.
And
but you can disable all the encryption
You
by
can literally
altering
update
the firmware.
Update software. Just broadcast the software and make it whistle Dixie if you want.
You just take the IDN for that phone and you apply the update to that phone. Most Apple phones will auto update and won't even tell you about it.
The real question is, I wonder why they chose to do that, since they in fact have done it in the past for law enforcement.
I think because it was high profile.
That may just be it. That may
think
be
about
the
who
whole
their
thing.
major customers' demographic is. It's
Well, and they
yuppies,
have been pushing
yuppies
about
and
this new
hipsters.
encryption thing, saying we want to give you more security, and they turn around.
They didn't want to
and
waste all those marketing dollars.
And that could really be
Well,
the real point.
But,
You're right.
but what's worse for your marketing? The fact that the government was able to crack it relatively quickly
without you or
without outside
for a
help.
lot of money, they were able to crack it.
Well, that's how much it.
Phone.
Yes,
$1
that's how
million
much it costs the government. That's like what, 20 minutes of government?
Answer the phone.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's,
George, what are you doing?
that's nothing in terms of the government.
Oh, we're having fun. Maybe we got a two. We got two lights.
Hurry up, George. Talk quick.
All right.
It was people that were just in their car listening. They wanted to pull over before they called you about your comments.
Probably. You're doing shrank, right? Okay. 3530, and we got 3416. We're coming up on a minute. Safe for
That was the first time in...
What are we talking about?
No,
Me?
No, that was the first time in like 2 months.
Somebody dropped off.
George took too long.
All right. 200,000 felons. That's good. I like that. Why didn't we think of that? Why didn't we give them pardons and a new suit and make them Republicans? Ooh, lights back up. Oh, Millie. There you go. How law enforcement uses Stingray?
What's Stingray?
Don't know.
Jump on Google,
Quick,
Okay.
Google it.
Google it.
Law enforcement Stingray.
I would Google it, but I'm always afraid to touch this computer.
And the other one is Lewis? Hillary and the gender card.
Management Solutions. You're listening to On Target Radio on AM560 The Answer with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
Over a half century ago, a respected firearms store opened. It started as a hobby for Mike Schrank and has now served generations of customers. Schrank's Smoke and Gun retains a family atmosphere and now carries the largest selection of new, used, and consignment firearms in Lake County. From pistols, rifles, and shotguns to hard-to-find calibers, collectibles, and older functioning hunting rifles. You'll also find full gunsmith services from simple detail cleaning to complete rebuilds. Whether you're thinking about your first firearm in a FOID card or looking to add to your collection, visit Schrank's Smoke and Gun. If you have a firearm to sell, their recent sale was so successful they need your firearm. And if you love cigars, you'll find your favorites in Schrank's humidors, along with a broad selection of pipes and tobacco. Visit smoke_gun.org or call 847-662-4034. Schrank's Smoke and Gun in Waukegan, your family-owned gun store since 1964. That's 847-662-4034.
You're listening to On Target Radio, and this is AM560 The Answer. Give us a call, 312-642-5600. We have Lewis on the phone wants to talk about Hillary and the gender card. How you doing this evening?
Pretty good. How you guys doing?
All right.
I was just going to say, this Hillary, she's got a lot of baggage, but she's going to run with this gender card, just like they do with the race card, when like Obama was running other candidates. But,
sure.
She's no friend of women, though. If you look at her record, just on foreign policy, she put in these Muslim fundamentalist regimes in North Africa, for instance, or, they get a lot of money from the pornography industry, the Democrats. So, she's running on this. But, I've noticed that even the Girl Scouts are running ads that are like public service ads, but look like Hillary Clinton ads to me. It just seems that they're getting the whole apparatus ready to make her the first woman president.
Well, and here's the interesting thing. You're right, and not only is that true, but she also enables her husband, who's a serial sexual offender.
Right.
She's not a friend of women. She's not actually a friend to anybody except Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, you're almost going to need a woman vice presidential candidate like a Fiorina who'll go after her, because if a man goes after her, it just makes her case. He's just a man. You almost need a good conservative woman. I don't know if Fiorina would fit the bill, but you need someone like that. But the thing I said about the girls, I didn't realize what a liberal organization that is. I mean, I realize it, but I mean, when
sure,
there's a website. They run ads all the time. On their TV, but they always have this website they put up there, Together There. Your listeners could check it out, or you could check it out, togetherthere.org. And there's a Hillary. It's a public service now. It doesn't mention her by name, but it's subliminal. You could.
Okay.
To me, it looks like a Hillary Clinton commercial.
We'll have to check it out.
Yeah, check it out.
Appreciate you calling. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one. And Millie's on. Hi, Millie. How you doing this evening?
Good, thanks. I have a question regarding the lawsuit that was allowed to go forward against a gun manufacturer.
Uh-huh.
So I'm calling to find out, law enforcement uses a technology called Stingray, and they've been using it on people like in the city to harass them, for people that would stand up for the Second Amendment. So how does, that's a manufacturer of an item that hurts people, and it's being abused by law enforcement. So now we have a lawsuit against an item that's manufactured that hurts people.
Well, the bottom line is this. You can't, you can sue anybody you want, but you can't essentially sue a manufacturer of an item that it's a lawful item, sold lawfully to someone who can legally possess it, and sue them for something that person does with it. I mean, look at a bank robber. What are you going to do? You're going to sue the guy who made the jeans. You're going to sue the company that built the car that drove him there. There's no personal responsibility anymore. That's where the blame falls.
Right. In your example, Millie, you would have to sue the law enforcement agency that's doing the harassing.
And good luck with that. You know, it is what it is. But and I would assume, and who knows, but I would assume that that's going to get it's going to get overturned if it goes to court to begin with. If it actually goes, I'm going to assume it's going to get overturned on an appeal because it's in direct violation of a federal law.
Right.
The thing we were supposed to be talking about in this segment with the remaining minute and 30 seconds, you know,
it's probably enough.
The liberals have no shame whatsoever. Now, remember Terry McAuliffe, press secretary under Clinton, now the governor of Virginia. He was the guy who was who for a day or so canceled all the concealed carry permit recognitions, right? Okay, and then the Republican legislature said, okay, we're going to cancel your entire bodyguard.
Yeah, they basically put his nuts in a vice.
And he had that smile as he signed the bill. It goes like okay, so what is he saying now? Now he's trying to help blacks, okay? And he's trying to help blacks because they have been disenfranchised, and there's a disproportionate number of blacks who don't get to vote, the ones that are felons. He is going to sign into law that felons who have, they've served their time, but they're felons, can vote. About 200,000 of them in Virginia will be able to vote. And guess what? We got to go back. We're going to come back, though. We're going to finish this. Wait till you hear what this has to say. And we will be back with more On Target Radio after a few messages, and you're going to want to hear what they discovered about these felons, okay? We'll be back with more On Target Radio, and you're listening to AM560 The Answer. Just happens to be in time for the election, okay? George, South Loop, Harriet Tubman. Well, that's a wonderful thing, but it's got nothing to do with what we're talking about.
I just updated it.
Was it Pistol Packing Mama? Yes, I know that too. You knew that about Harriet Tubman, by the way? She's a Republican?
I read that, yeah.
Yeah.
I read that.
There's a certain amount of irony that they're taking Jackson off a $20 bill, who...
Oh, I love it.
Who was
a
liberal, and replacing with Harriet Tubman, who's a gun-toting Republican.
I think that the conservatives should have kept it to themselves until the bills were actually printed.
Well, that's true, because maybe that's going to change.
Because they may change their minds now.
But that's funny. Did you know that? Did you know that Harriet Tubman was a gun-toting Republican black woman?
And she was a spy.
And only liberals are that stupid. It's like all these liberal moron college kids are wearing Che Guevara T-shirts. Yeah. Che Guevara would have hung those people.
Right.
They would have been the first.
Lined them up and
he would have killed. Right. They have no clue what they're doing. I don't know. We'll take it. What the hell? What do we got? We got that in Starbucks. Starbucks is hypocrisy. How rare that is in politics.
Yeah. Well, we could talk about Harriet Tubman in light of hypocrisy.
Well, that's true. That is true. Although I'm not sure that the liberals who want her on the 20 are smart enough to know that Harriet Tubman.
No, but it's good hypocrisy. So it's good hypocrisy, but.
I think, quite frankly, I think they say this is a black woman that everybody knows her name, and they don't really have a clue who she is.
Maybe.
They're just trying to appease black voters.
Maybe there's some secret conservatives in the Treasury Department, and they snuck it in, and none of the stupid liberals picked up on it.
A vast right-wing conspiracy.
Yeah.
Right. Could be.
I'm guessing it's probably just one dude. Actually, I doubt it's a vast conspiracy.
Well, a unvast,
a tiny,
ebb-tide conspiracy.
A tiny conspiracy.
Yeah. What is it? A conspiracy of fools? What was that? I think it was conspiracy of fools. Is that it? Oh. I don't know.
Yeah, somebody photoshopped a bill with her on it, and she's like running with like a pistol like this. I was like, that's a good one.
I love it.
Did you see the ones with the video with the kids petting the lemur? That's really funny too.
No.
It's on my page.
Radio on AM560 The Answer with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
So Terry McAuliffe, who was the press secretary under Clinton and is now the governor of Virginia, the one who disavowed all the concealed carry recognition for the state of Virginia, and then
for about 5 minutes.
Yeah, and then the Republican legislature said, "Fine, we'll cut out your security detail," and suddenly there's a picture of him smiling, signing the bill, taking back what he said. So now he says, there is no question that we've had a horrible history in voting rights as relates to African Americans. We should remedy it. He reported this in the New York Times. We should do it as soon as we possibly can. Now, here's the funny part about this. They go on to say that this has nothing to do with the election.
No.
We're wronging a right, a long-standing right.
We're just putting it to right.
Exactly. As it happens, the disenfranchised blacks that they're going to allow to vote are 200,000 felons. And somebody did a little research. I don't think it took a whole lot to do this. They did a little research, and guess what they found out? In New York, 60% or so of felons are registered Democrats.
Yeah.
Well, there's a real shocker. 60% of them probably are Democratic politicians. That's where they came from.
Well, in Chicago, that's certainly
exactly. I mean, we got George on the line calling about Harriet Tubman, and George, we were laughing about this on the break. How you doing this evening?
Yeah, we have all these liberal agendas, and we never use what they do against them the way they do it against us. They create these false agendas. But Harriet Tubman she was a pistol packing mama.
Yep.
She was able to accomplish those things that she did because she was armed.
And she was a Republican.
And exactly.
And we were laughing about this on the break, George, because here the liberals, I'm sure, and I don't know this for a fact, but I'm sure that what they're pandering to is the black vote, and so they're going to put a black woman on a 20 without actually knowing who the woman was.
Yeah, and then the converse thing of that is, Jackson is the father of the Democratic Party.
That's exactly right.
You can't make this stuff up.
It's just hysterically funny. Now, Gretchen has a theory that she just came up with. Go ahead, tell them what your theory is.
I said I think there is probably a lone conservative in the Treasury Department who snuck this in. He suggested it at a staff meeting. And they all go, yeah, that's a good idea. We like that idea. And he just completely pulled the wool over on them.
I think that's just priceless. Thanks
a lot.
Thanks for the call, George. The last subject we wanted to cover, which really is about hypocrisy too, Starbucks and Apple. This is you can't make this stuff up. What do they do? What state was it? I don't remember. Whatever the state was where they were talking about saying, you know what? People have if you're a baker.
Well, first it was Indiana, and now it's North Carolina.
North Carolina, that's what I'm saying. It says if you're like a baker, you have the right to not bake a cake for a gay wedding. You have a right to do that.
Right.
And of course, immediately, Apple, whose president is openly gay, and as you know, I don't have a problem with that. But and Starbucks came out and go, wow, we're not going to
boycott Indiana.
That's it. We're done. You people are homophobic, and you're not right, and you're against people, and all that kind of stuff. Now, the interesting part about all this is when they say that, they do a lot of business in the Middle East, where if you are gay, they behead you.
Right.
That's a little different than not baking a cake, don't you think?
Yeah, this article from Illinois Family Institute says, like on Friday afternoons, thieves have their hands cut off and adulterers are executed.
Well, you know what? It's the theater of the absurd. It's live theater in the village square.
Apparently.
Yeah. They used to do it in medieval England,
Apparently.
On whatever day it was. They'd
also honor killings. Then there's the whole honor.
There's a lot of honor, and they're, killing your daughter.
That's right.
Nice. Yeah. It's funny that they will do business in those countries and not say anything because they don't want to offend. Starbucks went so far as to change the corporate logo because Muslims objected to it.
Yeah, the mermaid was too risque.
A little too booby.
Yeah. Well, she actually doesn't have any boobs, but they said she showed too much skin.
Well, okay, but that's where the skin was.
No, there's no.
No, that's the corrected one, isn't it?
No, that's the real one. But I love what Tim Cook says. He says, this isn't a political issue. It isn't a religious issue. This is about how we treat each other as human beings. Because Muslims have such a record, such a long historical record of treating human beings with dignity and respect, especially human beings who happen to be women.
Yeah, well, they do sharpen the sword.
they use a sharp knife.
Yeah, they do
I guess that's a little bit better.
So I have a little bit of course, I hate Starbucks anyway.
Right.
Starbucks in French means really expensive, bad-tasting junk. Okay, so I've never liked Starbucks.
I boycott Starbucks because they're anti-Second Amendment and anti-Christian.
Yeah,
so
that's exactly
I've been
right.
boycotting them for a while.
And now here we go with Apple, which really makes me feel bad because Apple makes good product.
You're an Apple guy.
Yeah, I don't have the computer, but I got every other thing they make, and I feel bad about that. But it is what it is. If they just came out and said, "Look, we believe in this, and we're applying it across the board," well, okay, that's fine.
Right.
But there's more going on.
But it's
here.
not.
Yeah, it's not that at all. It's more going on.
Very, very hypocritical.
Yeah, I don't.
Which, the ironic thing, it's no different than the Democrat Party itself. I once saw a cartoon of Obama with his feet on each foot was on a different ice floe. And, one is gay rights and the other one is Muslims.
There you go. All right, well, we're going to be back, wrap the whole thing up with more on Target Radio after a few messages. And you're listening to AM560, The Answer. Time goes by fast when you're having fun, eh?
Yep.
On Target Radio received 6 new messages.
I was listening to your show on a station in Ohio, and then it's talking about a student gun. I wanted to talk about the gun.
Now I know what that was. No. Oh. When you guys get messages, they pop up in my notifications.
Oh, okay.
Like if somebody likes one of your statuses because I'm one of the editors, right?
Normally I don't. Play that for me again. When we get what message?
When On Target Radio gets a notification or a message, it pops up in my notifications because I'm one of your page editors. I never do anything with your page. But
I like on Facebook.
I normally just ignore it unless it's pithy or some ed stuff I comment on. But when I comment on my phone, it comments as On Target Radio.
Okay.
So I just don't do it. I don't like and comment because it'd be retarded. Plus, that's your guys, right? Yeah. But yeah, the message came through today, and I'm going through my notifications, and I see this 8:10 or 6:10 a.m. whatever it was. I was listening to your show in Ohio, and I was like, "That's cool."
Yeah, I never saw that.
I didn't know WIND was putting it out like that. That's pretty awesome. And then I came in, and I had forgotten to mention it, and then she's like, "Yeah, you need to send a cease and desist letter." And I'm like,
heck of an antenna.
"Oh, son of a bitch." You know
well,
what?
And I thought what you thought, that maybe they were like selling it behind our backs. That they were selling.
Well, I just figured I didn't know about it because nobody ever tells me anything. I came here for Shalom Show last week, and he was recorded.
Yeah,
so I went home.
They wouldn't do that though. They got rid of Russ because he was text harassing.
They're very good about protecting your content here. Actually, much better than most other places, especially like if you're ABC and you're a newsmaker.
Well, here we go. How much you got?
You're listening to On Target Radio on AM560 The Answer with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
And we're back with more On Target Radio. Do not give us a call. We're done. Well, we might as well just do this first, and then we'll just chat when we're done.
Stand by. Here's Gretchen with your action items for the week.
SB 3076, the IEMA Police Powers Act, is a bad bill that is being considered by the Illinois Senate right now. SB 3076 calls for giving certain county emergency management agencies police powers. The only county that currently falls into the parameters stated in the bill is Cook County. Why would county emergency management agencies need police powers? We already have a number of police agencies. SB 3076 asks authority for a litany of things. One of the things they want is the right to establish their own private police force and to enforce whatever controls they would deem necessary to protect the county and its elected officials. We're talking about countywide martial law. They are also requesting authority for access to databases. They could find out who has firearms and come and seize them. Furthermore, this new police organization does not seem to be limited to the county in which it was formed, because it appears to have statewide jurisdiction. Please call your state senator and let him or her know that you want them to oppose SB 3076. The General Assembly is off next week, and your senators should be in their local district offices. I put this on Facebook earlier today with a link to help you find your representative. The following Safer USA classes are at our facility in Waterman. Saturday, April 30th, Tactical Pistol 1 and 2, taught by David. Saturday and Sunday, May 7th and 8th, Illinois Concealed Carry 1. This 16-hour class will be taught by David and Gretchen and meets the training requirements for Illinois Concealed Carry, as well as Florida, Arizona, and Utah. Saturday, May 14th, Introduction to Shotgun Shooting, taught by Pat and Nancy Donaldson. Sunday, May 15th, Know Your AR Platform Rifle 1 and 2, taught by Eric. To sign up for classes, go to saferusa.com and click on register.
Our May 7th and 8th class, a couple of people had to move to a different course, and there's a couple open seats. So just to fill it, I marked it down half price. There's only a couple seats. So if you're listening and you want to do concealed carry, we just chopped that in half just to fill that section, to fill those seats of people who disappeared. Well, they didn't disappear. They're going to go to a different class. You're going to be gone all week, huh?
Yes, I am.
You're going to be in the sun?
For a change, yeah. Going to North Carolina.
Yeah.
We're going to go see the Biltmore.
Yeah. You're the one who turns into bacon when you go in the sun.
I have a collection of hats.
And SP 2500.
I do.
Yeah.
I have the patent for SPF 2000.
There you go. We're not doing segment 6 tonight because she has to get up early and go. So it'll be another boring night. I'll drive home listening to my voice on the radio because I played the thing back, and that's what we're going to do. But next week, if you make it back alive are you going to be back for sure?
That is my plan.
Jim, you'll be here next week.
Lord willing, and the creek don't rise.
All right. If she doesn't show up, you're on. You're it.
You
okay?
get to stand in my spot next week.
Wear a skirt. Wear a skirt next week.
Yeah,
we'll
get you a blonde wig. A blonde wig, and then you put your foil hat on top of it.
Have a nice vacation, and don't
Thank you.
Don't burn to a crisp.
I won't.
We'd like to thank you for listening on Target Radio, and be sure to listen in next week when hopefully Gretchen and I will be discussing more red meat issues that affect your life.
We'd also like to thank George Hoffman on the board, Jim Ekstrand, our video engineer, and our sponsors, the Will County Grassroots Division of the ISRA, Shrink Smoke and Gun, the Illinois State Rifle Association, the Aurora Sportsman's Club, and Safer USA.
What more could you ask for? What more could you possibly ask
Not a
for?
thing.
Maybe tying Georgie's hands up so he can't hit the magic button, okay? Just once I'd like to blast the zinger out. As always, we want to thank our good friend Mike Sakoff for making it all happen.